while we're waiting for Kristy to come back in, I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you. Super excited for you guys to be here. This, it's 12:12. I love it. I love my angel numbers. And so this is the first time I've done this, hosted a live in my Facebook group. I'm really, really excited to be doing this, and I'm going to be doing this quite a bit. And you're going to see when Kristy gets back, I'll introduce that in more detail. So I appreciate you hanging tight while we work out the technical difficulties, because thought this was pretty straightforward, and apparently it's not. And we are here to serve you. And you know what? We're serving you. It's so funny. I'm looking at my like vision board that I just scrubbed it clean this morning. And the words that came to me this morning were follow the fun. And so I want to serve that with you today, because life is about having fun. And, you know, sometimes there's fun in the fuck ups. Pardon my French. But this is it, right? Like, if you can't have fun in life, then what's the point in living? And so here we are. We're learning how to have some fun in some technical difficulties. And there we go. And is it still the same, Kristy?
Oh my gosh. Yes, we're good.
Oh,
we're good.
Wow. Yay.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
I was just saying that this is the first day of Mercury retrograde, and it is what it is. And while I was getting ready this morning, I had the words come to me, follow the fun. And I think that's so powerful, because what is the point in living and enjoying life if you're not joyful and having fun and laughing and giggling and being silly? And sometimes the most incredible moments come through, you know, the biggest kind of screw ups. So here we are.
Yeah, you know what? Everything is a lesson, and we are learning. So now we know for next time.
I don't even know what we did.
I literally am
know
never
what we
on
did,
Facebook.
Though.
I don't either. I don't know. I think it was just like because of, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway,
all right,
let's jam on it.
So when this gets saved, because this will be saved as a replay for anybody that is just listening, or anybody's at work or whatnot, we'll cut out all that kerfuffle at the beginning, and this will be nice and clean for y'all. So yeah. So first off, thank you everybody for joining. And we are here with Kristy Klymciw and myself, and we are going to do some live hot seat coaching. We are going to serve you with our wisdom and our knowledge and our expertise from source, God, the universe, divine, wherever you feel that you're connected to, for that wisdom to flow through to you and deliver, so that you can expand and grow into the highest version of yourself. And the really cool thing about this is the first of many times this will be happening in this group, and I'm so excited. This is a new space for me. I'm a master networker. I'm a master connector. I'm a human design reflector. So this is like my sweet spot, like this, like networking, this brokering, introducing you to like wisdom and greatness. Like this just fires me up. And so I'm so excited to share with you Kristy, who I've known for about 1.5 years now. She actually coached me when I first got into the world of online coaching. And she just, I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but she's just an angel, and she's just gentle and kind and amazing. And
thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to sage and kind of get us all grounded and connected, and then we'll get going. So Kristy, please introduce yourself and share your magic.
So I am, I started my journey in health coaching, obviously, because I personally went through, you know, a lot of health issues. I had leaky gut. I didn't have a period for 14 years. I had low thyroid. I was losing my hair, like everything you can imagine I was going through, and I couldn't find my way. I was seeing doctors, I was having tests done, and everything was coming up normal. So for me, that was the most frustrating part. And so as I found like new methods and techniques in my journey to heal my body, I realized that there were other things, other than just food, that were affecting my health. And that also put me into the spiritual journey. And in that, I found that, you know, choices, obviously, that I was making in my life, in relationships, and the job that I was working, and, you know, the thoughts that were perpetuating in my mind, the negative emotions from my childhood, and trauma, and all of that stuff that happens to us throughout our lifetimes, that was just really compiling in my body, and really playing a big role in the function of my body. And what I found was that the spiritual stuff, the emotional stuff, the thoughts in my mind, the environment, the people that I was allowing into my world and being around on a daily basis were affecting the way that my body was functioning, because our bodies are energy. And as we continuously take on that energy and harbor that energy, it really suppresses all functions of our body. And so that was the beginning of my journey, was really trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Why couldn't I digest food? Why were my hormones so out of balance? Why couldn't doctors help me? Why weren't, you know, the diets that I was implementing helping me? And it became like, you know, such a stressful environment for myself that even just trying to find those answers was putting a lot of weight on me, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And I had this sense of heaviness. And so I really had to look for new ways to heal my body and to get out of this darkness, basically. And so that is what guided me into my spiritual journey. So that's the short of it. There was so much going into that, but I did go through so many lessons, and the journey was really dark for me. And so I really love the work that I do, because I kind of take my clients from not knowing what's wrong. Why aren't I losing weight? Why can't I balance my hormones? Why don't I feel good? And a lot of people just focus on food and diets, and it has so much more than that to do with it. You know, it's our emotional well-being, our spiritual well-being, the people that we're in relationships with, and, you know, the beliefs that we have towards ourselves, and the energy that we bear. So yeah.
Everything that we experience in life is a relationship.
Yes.
We have relationships with food, with friends, with families, with work, with money, with everything. And when you see that everything is a relationship, it really allows you to look at things differently. And I know for me personally, I was bulimic for 7 years. So I had a very negative relationship with food. And I was purging because I didn't want it in me, not realizing this was, gosh, maybe like 15 years ago now, not realizing that I was trying to get all that heaviness out of me because I didn't want it in me. And the only way I knew how to get it out was to throw it up. Now, when I do my shamanic healing, I throw up, and there's a correlation there. So
Absolutely.
But yeah, and so how have you found your relationship with food has changed since shifting your perspective?
Yeah, I can so relate to that story, because I actually noticed my relationship with food change. My mother was in an abusive relationship, and that actually brought on a lot of anxiety. I had my first panic attack at 6, and, you know, I noticed my weight start changing. I noticed I was going more towards food for comfort and safety and protection, and just like all around to feel good, because there was nothing in my environment that actually felt good. And so from, you know, early childhood on, I it was more so focused on food. How can food make me happy? And then trying to really satisfy this hunger for safety and protection and love with food. And then going into my teenage years, same thing. I was even on diets in my teenage years. I felt really uncomfortable. and unsafe and unworthy in my body. And then I had my daughters from the ages of 20 and 23. I have two daughters. And I noticed like I really started to put a lot of focus on exercise and dieting and becoming more in control of what I was eating, writing things down, counting things, doing specific diets and sticking to those, but like doing them hardcore, you know. Workouts were like 3 hours a day. And I did actually reach my goal weight, but I also reached beyond that, which created illness within my body. And so, yeah, my relationship with food used to be very, very rocky and toxic and abusive. If I ate too much, I would starve myself the next day. I would just eat vegetables, raw vegetables, and like, who can even thrive on that? And I would binge when I felt stressed or anxious or nervous. And so it was like an up and down thing. I also was bulimic. I was anorexic. I tried every single diet there is under the sun. I can't even name one that I haven't done. So now my relationship with food is healthy and balanced and aligned. And I know how to go within to find that comfort and to give myself that love and to give myself that protection and to feel secure and to feel worthy. And it was a long journey to that and an everyday practice. But the difference in my relationship with food from then and now is like on the opposite ends of the spectrum. So
I can totally relate. And actually a lot was coming up for me when you were sharing that on multiple levels, but focusing up from food is I as well was in that dualistic extreme polarity, like all or nothing, soft or hard, stop or go. I didn't know how to balance and equalize my relationship with food. Like I was a high level competitive athlete and all I knew was go, 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 swim 40 hours a week and you're going to be the best. Well, what if you take a break? If you take a break, you know, you're going to fail. So you can't take a break. So you go to you're burnt out. And I had to learn how to like balance and equalize that as well. And what's coming up for me has been a huge lesson for me is slowing down into those moments, into those awareness, those mindfulness, those presence, so that you can then speed up because you have to slow down to allow yourself to catch those moments where you can hear your intuition guide you and then you can act differently versus react to your life because you're like in survival mode and everything's firing and you're just like grabbing at everything to keep you going. And then when you can slow down and breathe and like move through some of those like uncomfortable feelings, you then stand in a place of empowerment and you get to choose, do I want that cake? Okay. Do I want all the cake? Do I want to throw up the cake? Or do I want just a piece of the cake? Or, you know, and it's funny. And I've noticed this last year, I've never had this relationship with food in my life where I actually stop when I feel satisfied versus eat the whole cake because I love chocolate. And that's pretty cool because that's slowing down. That's bringing your, you know, your parasympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight, all those subconscious things that are grabbing to keep you safe. Because if I don't get it all now, it's all going to go away. So I have to eat it all now. And just bringing yourself down to like, there's more than enough to go around. You are okay. You are safe. You are so loved just as you are. And we're going to go one step at a time through this. And it's beautiful.
Yes, yes. And really, an eating disorder is, you know, someone, for example, who binges because they feel stressed or they feel anxious is more so like, there's many reasons why we binge. First of all, one of them is we feel stressed, we feel anxious, and food actually can ground us. And it can actually help us to feel better and grounded and relaxed, right? But when we're in this state of high anxiety and stress, those hormones and everything that the stress hormones that are, you know, running through our body, they make us feel really out of control. And that's when we start to go for things. And unfortunately, we have a lot of toxic foods that
are easy,
bring,
and they're so
they're
easy to
easy.
get to.
Right. And the ingredients actually bring a rewarding feeling in our brain. And so we continuously go back to that food. We remember, oh, that made me feel good. That made me feel good. And so we keep going back to that food. And so that's one thing. And it's really important to find foods that are really grounding and support us and make us feel satisfied and relaxed. And those obviously are going to be whole plant foods because of the mineral content and the vitamins and just the way they work with our body. They're going to be more grounding. And the other reason why we would binge is because we continuously tell ourselves we can't have it. We're not, I better eat this now because tomorrow I'm not eating anything. And obviously we're going to be like, okay, more, because we're afraid that the next day we're not going to be able to feed our bodies. And so we need to get to a point where we can really learn to ground ourselves, listen to what we're feeling. What are those emotions that are coming up? Because being stressed out and anxious, like any thoughts or emotions can bring that up. And so we need to learn to really just connect with those emotions and say, okay, right now it's just because I'm super stressed out about a project I'm working on. How can I make this easier for myself? Or right now I'm feeling super tired because I've been up so early and I've been going all day. And it's really learning to get to a place where you can understand what you're feeling in that moment and give yourself what you need. And I always even now, when you've had an eating disorder and you've binged or you've starved, or you've had those patterns, it's always going to be a constant, you're always going to be having to remind yourself. I always say I'm safe. I can eat the next time I'm hungry. I don't need to overeat right now because I can eat in 2 hours if I'm hungry. I can eat when I feel like I need to eat. I am satisfied. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to constantly remind ourselves that we are safe. And one of my mantras is always, I am divinely protected. I am divinely safe. And I love that, especially when I feel like I am going into a panic attack, because that is actually one of those, I told you I had my first panic attack when I was 6. Learning to really know how to ground yourself in those moments. And I will get to that. I promise. What about addiction to food? I'm going to get to that. So learning to really ground ourselves in those moments of panic. And a couple of things that have really helped me is going into the shower. And if you're able to, if you're at work or something, obviously it's going to be a different strategy, but definitely get into the shower and allow yourself to just feel the water hitting your skin, because touch, smell.
And water is so cleansing and purifying. I get so many downloads in the shower. It's crazy. So there's so many benefits, and it's alkalizing and it's healing.
Yes.
And it also shifts you from when you're so this is the thing that's really it's been life-changing for me, is getting out of my head and getting into my heart. I had no idea how to do that years ago. People would talk to me about heart chakra opening and connecting, and I would be like, okay, so I don't get it. It would just fall flat. And when you can connect with your heart, you just experience things differently. And how you do that, for me at least, was really slowing down and being aware so that your mind wasn't running you. Because if you look at it like your mind is the manager in a company and your soul is a VP, the next level up, but source, God, divine, whatever, is the CEO, and you take direction from the CEO. And when it filters through you, you instantly cancel out your mind. Your mind just says, okay, I'm good. And that's been so life-changing.
Yeah, yes.
I'm just going to also point out there's some questions in the comments, so I'll let you do that, and then I'll start going to some of the questions.
Yeah, I saw them. One of them was about food addiction, and she just said that she wondered why she feels better in the mornings, because we need
I would also say, Desiree, you also feel better because your masculine energy in you has asked, sorry, your feminine wants to be nurtured and soothed or cared for, whatever, and is calling yourself to go take a shower. And if you don't take a shower, you're doing you're doing yourself a disservice. You're not honoring, you're not creating safety. And when you do that task, it's like the masculine checks off the list. Check, I'm good. Puffing up his chest, we're good. Because we all know that men are wired for one action at a time. And when you can check off that action, just like making your bed in the morning, you feel better. And so that's why I always encourage people to start their day with making their bed and, you know, committing to certain routines because it gets you going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Me personally, when I am asleep all night, I dream very vividly and clearly, and I see a lot of things in those dreams, and a lot of my healing happens in those dreams. So sometimes, well, a lot of the time, and almost every morning, I'm just going to be honest, I wake up and I feel very heavy. And it's almost like if we don't, I'm going to go into this, the question that I just saw about what if you feel too depressed to even shower? I'm going to kind of touch on this right now. So when we wake up and we feel that heaviness and that depression, if we don't actually become disciplined in taking those steps, and we might not be motivated, might not feel good enough, but once we take those steps and we get into a pattern of, okay, well, if I wake up and I take this energy throughout my day, then it's going to affect every aspect of my life. I'm going to feel depressed in my work. I'm not going to want to, get on lives like this. I'm not going to want to coach my clients. I'm not going to have that space to hold for my clients. And so it's really important to know that once you get yourself in another pattern of like, okay, I might not feel good enough to get in the shower, but I'm going to do it anyway. And sometimes the heaviness can be so much to bear, but even at that point, like I get in the shower, I sit on the floor, I hold myself, and I let the water hit me, and I just sit there, and I allow myself to feel and to have, to clear my energy. And that is actually a good way, because in the shower or when we're doing things like washing the dishes or cleaning the house, we're already in a meditative state. And so when I get in the shower, I am not only enjoying and feeling and allowing myself to just be comfortable, I'm thinking and I'm going through in my mind, okay, what is it that I'm actually feeling? How can I release this? And I'm asking, please help me release this feeling. And when you trust in that, it just happens. And then as you get into this pattern of caring for yourself in the morning and setting the tone for yourself in the morning, then you can take that energy throughout the day. So if you're sad and depressed and you're like, okay, well, I can't even shower, and you just go about your day, that energy is going to linger. If you're sad and depressed and you're like, what can I do to actually really love on myself right now, to give myself that love and care and attention, because that's really what your soul wants, is that nurturing, that nourishment, and that love. And so no one else is actually going to give that to us. I'm single. I don't have anyone here giving it to me. I'm a single mom. I am the only one that can actually give myself that love and attention when I need it. And I can't depend on anyone else to do it. And if I do sit here and depend and wait for someone else to give that to me, I'll never get it, because we attract what we feel. We attract where we're at energetically, where we're at now. So,
and I do want to add into that. The reality is we live in a world of attachment. Everything we have been programmed, learned, taught, believe, we are attaching to things externally. That is the addiction. Somebody had talked about addiction, whether it's Facebook scrolling, whether social media scrolling, whether it's numbing out on social media, whether it's eating, whether it's your mind swirling around, whatever it is, when you aren't centered in taking care of yourself first, you're seeking externally what you're looking for internally. But what's going to happen is you're going to keep filling up your bucket, and it's going to be like there's holes in your bucket, and you're just going to constantly be seeking outside of you to fill up, because you're not filling it up from within. And for me, what's worked to fill up within is allow myself to feel in those uncomfortable moments where I have muted and suppressed for so long because I was afraid to see what came up. And it takes it going at baby steps, one step at a time, because if you do it all at once, it's going to terrify you and you're going to close in like a turtle. And so like healing and living, it happens in layers and it's like unfolding. And so when you can give yourself what you want, you're right, Kristy, you are going to receive that in the world, because we are all a reflection and all a mirror of our inner reality and our inner world. And it's shifted my life tremendously, and I know it's shifted your life tremendously.
Absolutely. And she said she's a single mom too, I saw in the comments. So I just want to like say one thing about that. A lot of us single moms, we don't always have that time, space, or energy to give to ourselves. And it's really difficult sometimes to have that space to feel what we want to feel, to sit in our rooms and cry and to release. And crying is the best thing for me. Like I cry all the time. I've been crying for like 3 weeks. But if we don't actually give ourselves that space and say, okay, well, when the kids are in bed, I'm going to go in my room and I'm going to play this meditation. I'm going to allow myself to go into my mind, into that computer, and pull out the parts of me that are making me feel sad and work through those things and feel it, because we are on the go all the time as moms. It's like always rush and go, or, you know, the kids need something. So we're constantly giving our attention, focus, and energy to them. And so it's important for us to go back in there and actually allow ourselves to feel those feelings, because if we don't feel those feelings, if we continue to compile, well, this happened, so now I'm going to put it here. This happened, I'm going to put it here. And it just, it takes over our bodies and we become very blocked in all ways. And so as a mom, just maybe this will help to kind of like give you some ideas. When my son goes to sleep, because I have older daughters, they're adults, they live with me, but my son is 4. As soon as he goes to sleep, I will come in my room and I'm playing with all of my stuff here. I got my crystals, my candles, my cards, and that's my time. Or I'll play, you know, a meditation that I love, or I'll throw like a tantrum and cry. And that helps me to release what's in me and create space so that I can actually be a better mom, focus on my work, create my content, and all of that stuff. So even if you have an hour at night, 20 minutes in the morning to shower, and that shower is your quiet time, your space, play some music. I don't know if you have a speaker for your shower or whatever it is, but music, showering, dancing, journaling, those things are going to help you to purge your emotions out and create space for more happiness, love, and abundance.
And I will add to that, that's been life-changing for me. I've been working with a feminine embodiment coach, and it's shifted my perspective because I was ready to feel deeper. And I did not know, for me personally, that dancing and moving would move so much energy. And that in this last year has been life-changing. And I will add, you're right as far as the digging and the purging, but we are a polarity. So if you picture like a seesaw or a teeter-totter, the lower you go, the more capacity for the higher you have to go. And when you can balance out your nervous system, you have the ability to go and feel some of that stuff you might not have wanted to feel before because it's scary and it's uncomfortable. And then you release it, and then you have the opportunity to welcome in more joy and happiness and fun. And in those moments where you are, celebrate all of those, because you're honoring the sacredness of your body to feel and grow and expand. And those moments where, like, I should say that I didn't. I used to do this years ago, and then being a busy mom of 3 kids, you just get lost in the go, and you forget to find the moments. But for me, I take the most pleasure now in turning the radio on in the kitchen and dancing and singing with my kids and twirling and acting silly. And to be honest, it's taken me a lot to get back there, because with my corporate masculine brain, it's, you have to be stuffy, you have to be perfect, you have to be on point, you can't screw up, you can't look like an idiot, you gotta go da 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 da. And for me to allow myself to slow down and appreciate the different moments, the goods and the bads, it's really shifted the way that I welcome all the moments in my life, which I never experienced before. And it's been a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful shift. And that's the balancing of the nervous system. And I want to get into that. And then I want to get into Reiki, because I know you do both of those. And then we've got some questions. So if there's any other questions in the chat, please feel free to ask. And yeah, so.
I really wanted to answer the question about food addiction.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah. So, okay, this is so like, I used to be this way, like hardcore, like the food addiction, what it comes from is when we are so focused on dieting our bodies, we restrict, we tell ourselves we can't, we become more, it's like telling a kid they can't have the candy. They're going to go and they're going to look for the candy. They're going to, hide and eat it and eat as much as they can because because someone's told them they can't have it. And it's kind of like us, like what happens with us is when we're constantly saying, oh, well, I can only eat this amount of calories a day, or oh my gosh, this carb filled meal is going to make me fat if I eat too much. When we're constantly putting those restrictions and those barriers up, we're going to want more and we're going to be more addicted to it. And when we allow ourselves to be fed, to be nourished, and we understand what our bodies need to feel that way, then we become less focused on the food because we're getting what we need. Our bodies are trusting us. And I would say for anyone who has a food addiction, this is like, I take my binge eater clients like really, really seriously, carefully, and I don't think that anyone who has a binge eating disorder or a food addiction can receive a plan from me and not have any coaching, because I want to make sure that whatever emotional blockages, whatever thought patterns, whatever beliefs that they have towards food get resolved and healed, because healing that and then finding the root cause of these addictions is going to be important to healing, releasing, and then allowing yourself to feel nourished, to eat food, to trust your body. Like for example, I used to count every single thing that I ate. I was afraid to eat carbohydrates. I had my magic food list and I had my foods that were unsafe list, and I stayed very strict to that. And when I got into healing my body, I realized that a lot, I would say most of what diet culture is about is restriction and control and fear and all the things that actually make us feel less safe and not trust our own bodies. And so when we can trust our bodies and trust that hunger, trust the cravings, learn what those cravings are, whether it's, sometimes when we're craving to just be held and loved, we might go to food because we don't understand what we're craving. We don't understand what we're feeling. We don't understand our feelings and our emotions. And so it's really about fine-tuning things, learning what your body needs, understanding what the cravings are, and learning the truth about food and the truth about what our bodies require to actually thrive. And the truth of the matter is when we're eating enough food, when we're getting enough nutrients, minerals, like we really want to focus on micronutrients, minerals, vitamins, enzymes, amino acids, and they don't have to come from animals. They can come from anything. And it's really important that when we know that and we get enough of that, our nervous system starts to calm down, our bodies start to trust us, and they actually start to function on high levels and do what we want. I eat probably, and I want to say, like, I healed my body. I lost almost 40 pounds eating close to 3,000 calories of straight carbohydrates. And that's because my body needed that nourishment to get back to a state of calm and peace and like,
Stabilize.
okay, to stabilize and to say, all right, I trust you now. I can stop holding on to this inflammation. I can stop holding on to the fat and for future energy stores. I can start to release some of this stress, the stress hormones from your body now, because now I trust you. And that is the biggest thing, is you want to learn to trust yourself, listen to your body, listen to your gut, and understand what your gut is saying. You know, like for me, I would binge when I was around certain people. Certain people would make me want to go home and binge because I felt so stressed and high strung around them. And this sounds like so much, and it could be stressful for someone whose nervous system is like off the charts right now. But that is the point, is to like really bring your body back to a state of calm and peace so that you can have the strength, the energy, and the wisdom to listen and understand and know what you need in that moment. And the food addiction will go away. And yeah.
Trust is huge. And there's so much, again, I love this. There's so much coming through that's complementing what you're saying. I know for me, when I had my bulimia for 7 years, I did not know that it was mindset or that it was coaching or that it was the way that I was talking. And that was my first introduction to coaching and support, and actually was counseling. And it really changed my life to understand where that was coming from. But you're right as far as the trust, because the diet culture, corporate America, you know, the way that we were parented, it's all do as I do and you will be fine. But it's not allowing us to be empowered and trusting our inner guidance and knowing what we specifically need, because there's 8 billion of us in the world, and there are no two people that are alike. And even if you and I are similar, you're going to need a little bit of this and I'm going to need a little bit of that. And I know that was a big thing for me in corporate, and a big thing for me with what I've released with that, and with my parenting and with my eating. And what I've received is everybody's doing the best that they can with the knowledge that they have. And it's coming from a very controlling culture, because we've just been taught to just white knuckle and just go and push and work really hard. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't want to work hard anymore. And I don't. And that's why I left, and that's why I started my healing, is my body was done working to live, and it wanted to enjoy living. It wanted to surrender and allow and just guide. And it all comes down to trust. And there's layers upon layers upon layers. And it's beautiful when you can surrender to allowing yourself to lead yourself forward. It's very, very empowering. And people around you feel it. Like, and I have full body chills just saying this. Mm-hmm. People feel it. And you feel it. And like, when you have that energy shift, that's that attraction magnetizing that, ooh, I want what she has. I want to be around her, because they have let go of that like external guidance, and they've tapped into their internal guidance, and they trust it, and then they action it. And it starts with baby steps, little baby steps, because that's that titration, that super gentle nervous system balancing that we need, because we are in such a culture of like white knuckling and like, if we go off the road, we're screwed. And so we have to just, it's okay. It's okay. You're okay. You're safe.
Yes.
Right. And everybody is different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, I'm going to kind of go into the Reiki a little bit, and why I think it's so powerful. When we have a traumatic experience, whether it's a physical injury or an emotional, you know, emotional trauma, and yes, 2022 is literally the year that like abundance comes and healing happens, and our karmic contracts are ending, and it's actually a really great year, and it's such a great year to do healing work. And I just want to say, like, from a physical body standpoint, we can have, what I was saying is, the trauma that we experience in childhood, the physical trauma, the emotional trauma, you know, seeing something, seeing our parents in abusive relationships, or being in a job that's toxic, this stuff actually gets stored in our cells, in our muscle tissue, in our chakras, and they become blockages. And so what I really love about Reiki is that Reiki energy is universal. It is welcomed, invited, and used, and yeah, everyone can receive it. It is so universal. I can sit here and give Reiki outside my window if I wanted to the trees.
I love energy
And
healing. That was my first introduction to non-North Americanized medicine, because I hit a brick wall at 100 miles an hour figuratively, and I was like, I'm done. I can't keep doing what I'm doing. There has to be something more. I had never meditated in my life. I did not know what chakras were. I didn't know what energy healing was. And I found some lady and she did energy healing, and I was like, okay, whatever this is, that's the direction I'm going. Opened up the rest of my spiritual awakening, and here we are today. So
yes. And it helped. So what Reiki does, and why I love using it in my practice, is that it actually will allow our bodies to release the trauma and to see the parts. So basically, if I give you Reiki, I can give it to you through the screen, off the screen, just thinking about you, visualizing you, standing over you. And this energy will go through your body, and it will find the parts of you that need to be healed. So all I need to do is focus on chakras, and that energy will be distributed through the body however it needs to be, and it'll go to whatever parts of the body that need it for healing. And I have seen people actually feel the benefits weeks later. I'm also a light language channeler. So what that is it helps to awaken the parts of your soul. It's language for your soul. It's the language that we used, I want to say millions of years, but I don't know how long humans have been here. But it is the language that our souls recognize. And when I speak that language into my Reiki, it literally helps to cut, like I'll start speaking faster and harder, and I know there's a blockage there. I'm cutting through blocks. And that client might not feel the effects that minute or that day, but over time, what I've seen is it's such a gentle way of healing. They'll start seeing visions. Oh, that's why I'm hanging around with this person. Oh, that's why I'm getting into relationships like this. Oh, okay, I get it. That's why I have food addiction. And those things are brought up, and they actually are removed and released. That energy is released from our body over time in a very gentle way. And it helps to clear our chakras, clear our energetic pathways, clear our cells, helps to regenerate our cells, heal our cells, repair our cells. And what I love is that I've seen people lose weight, because weight, when we gain weight on our body, it's weight. It's heaviness, emotions, stress, and our bodies actually build up this protective layer around us to protect ourselves. And so I've seen people lose weight. I've seen people remove their money blockages. I've seen people heal autoimmune diseases with eating the right foods, obviously, but those are blockages. If we're struggling with staying on the right track with our eating, if we're struggling with binge eating, if we're struggling with anorexia or, diets and stuff like that, this energy actually helps to clear those limiting beliefs, and end karmic contracts. It can heal physical injuries, and I just really love it. I think it's so powerful, and healing doesn't help to keep talking about the traumas, or just ask the therapist. Okay. Healing traumas. There's two answers that I have here. One is, when I was working with a shaman and I had to heal my relationship with my mom, and I had to release the pain and the stress and the anger and the resentment and the feelings that I had from my childhood. I remember, and I do this with my clients also, I remember him asking me over and over and over again in different ways, tell me about it again, tell me about it again. And I just kept saying it and saying it. Each time I would say something different, and something else would come up. And yes, it is important to talk about it, to speak it. But the second part of that answer is, if we continue to focus on that, and we continue to talk about it, we continue to tell people about it, and that is our only focus, then yes, we are kind of perpetuating that issue. We're keeping ourselves stuck in that energy. The most powerful way to heal trauma is to cry, talk about it, write them a letter and burn it, and do that as much as you can until you don't feel any emotion towards it anymore. When you can talk about something without feeling emotion, that means you have healed it. And once you get to that point, you want to let it go and release it. If you continue to talk about it, you're staying in that energy. It's like our bodies can stay, in the past. Our physical body can actually, that energy can stay in the past, and we want to really, you want out. I know how this feels. And I promise, the more you allow yourself to feel it and feel that anger, and you can look on YouTube. There's ways to actually go through these meditations. I love listening to shamanic drumming. It's the beat of our heart. It connects us back to our heart. We want to keep our heart chakra open. When we are in pain, when we have trauma that's not healed, our hearts become blocked. And shamanic drumming is a great way to awaken ourselves to our heart. And so I love listening to the beat of shamanic drumming, healing, writing things out, crying until you can't cry about it anymore. And then when you feel like you've healed it, don't talk about it anymore. Don't stay in that energy. Try not to focus on that. Look to your future, because it's really important that we don't hang on to that energy.
So I'm going to layer on top of that, from my perspective, what's worked for me and with the women and the men that I work with is, wherever you're feeling it in your body, you can touch that. So if you're feeling, it's heart, then it's like you're hugging your heart. So physical touch is very healing, and it's very gentle because you're doing it and you're in control. If you think about, and I've been in abusive relationships and unhealthy relationships, I've had a lot of relationship healing I've had to do. You name it, I've experienced it 10 times.
That's why you're a healer.
Yep. I would be here till tomorrow talking about all the stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now I genuinely look at all of those negative experiences as gifts. And if I would have said this years ago, I would have been like, because they have created such strength and empowerment in who I am. And so for me, what has worked, and as well the way that I support my clients, is if you think about, again, something external to you, a person, a place, a thing, everything is a relationship. When that has power over you, you are in a poverty mindset, you're in a victim mindset, pessimistic, woe is me, negative. And when you move through and you do the healing, that's one level of it. And then the next level is taking your mind out of the pattern of that loop. So when you're talking is great because it's going to allow you to feel. But if you get stuck in the loop where you're repeating the same story over and over again, you're just anchoring in what you're trying to step out of. And so if somebody's there to help you, a coach, a friend, and they can catch that you're in a loop and pull you and guide you out of it, that's beautiful. And that's your mind, your ego, keeping you safe, because all it knows is the life that you have lived on this earth. It doesn't know all the possibilities that are there for you because you've just experienced this on this lifetime with your mind, and your mind is repeating the same pattern. And so when you've done enough healing where you feel as though you can let it go, but your mind is still anchoring in, that's where I invite you to slow down. Like literally for me, I had to go second by second by second. Very intentional with every action that I did to reprogram very gently and slowly my mind to say, I love you, but I don't need this anymore. This is an old story. I am no longer a victim. You're trying to protect me, and I love you so much for it. You don't want to talk down on it because it's fiercely protecting you and it's fiercely loving you. And then you've got your higher self saying, oh, but there's all this like amazingness here. And your ego's like, but there's all this amazingness here. And so you've got this little battle. And so the slower you go, the easier it is to move yourself through that mindset to reparent yourself into the reality that you desire to create.
I have to step away for 1 second because I hear someone at my door and my son is out there.
Okay, I'll keep talking because it makes sense.
Go into the gratitude, the compassion.
Yeah. And so what's really worked for me, and funny enough, I did a 21-day gratitude challenge in my Facebook group. So if you haven't checked it, you're welcome to it. It's beautiful. But one of the things that worked for me was thanking that person or that experience to show you what needed to be healed, because now you have a choice. You have a choice to stay in that victim or to let that story go. And when you let that story go, that external thing no longer has power over you. You now have power from here, which is so much stronger than something external. Remember the filling up the bucket, right? And so when you start to fill up your bucket, you can very slowly, particularly intentionally move yourself through and reparent. And this is where affirmations and gratitude and joy come in, because, you know, you think you're a happy person and then you realize there's so much heaviness on you, and you realize you're going through life and you're grumpy and you're miserable and you're jaded and you're jealous and you don't realize it. And then when you start to see, you know, reparenting and retalking and re-speaking, it takes time. And I guarantee you will grow leaps and bounds through moments of joy. Joy is the highest vibration you can receive. Is it shame? No, it begins with a G. Why am I blanking? Anyway.
Guilt, shame,
guilt, shame,
anger, resentment.
Those are all low vibrations.
Yeah.
And joy and pleasure and happiness, like these are all higher vibrations. And so when you can find little tiny moments throughout your day, anchor into those, and that's what's going to pull you out of that negative loop. And this is the titration, the slow reparenting of moving yourself forward and opening up to your new path.
Yes, and I want to add one thing to that, or a couple things. So in shamanic healing, we release the anger, we release all those low vibe, negative emotions. And once we have released that, we can now actually look at the situation. For example, I keep bringing up my mom. I love her dearly, but I went through so much trauma with her. And the way that I healed my relationship was to heal the pain and the sadness and the anger and all of that. But now I can look at that situation as from a compassionate perspective. Like
it gives it a neutral charge. There's no more energy to it.
Yes. And I can look at her and say, wow, like I forgive her. Forgiveness is huge. Forgiving, I can forgive her now because I understand that she didn't have the tools. She didn't know how to deal with her pain. She didn't know how to get herself out of a toxic relationship. She didn't have the tools to do that. No one taught her that. And so I have to give her compassion because she is hurt herself, right? And so once you're not going to help anyone by being angry at someone who's in pain, and you're not going to help anyone by giving anyone more pain that already has pain. So you want to give off love and compassion, and then also find the gratitude in, okay, well, I'm so grateful that I had this experience with her because it taught me so much. It taught me how to love my kids. It taught me how to protect my kids. It taught me how to keep myself safe. It taught me what a relationship doesn't look like. And if I can find gratitude towards all of those things, find forgiveness for my mom, love her more for the pain that she's been through and that she is going through, then I can raise my vibration and help to end these generational traumas that keep perpetuating and cycling through our family.
The biggest gift that I have received in my work, which I was not expecting, was when I change, everything around me changes. My relationship with my partner, truthfully, it got worse before it got better because he also had gunk to pull up. My relationship with my children, drastically different. And I have gone from unconscious parenting to conscious, empowered, leading my children versus telling them what to do. And yes, that is friction, because it's so much easier to be like, oh my God, just do what you're told. Let's go. But that's protecting me, and that's not leading them and giving them empowerment, because how is that going to help them 20 years from now when they're in the same position that we are today? And so, yeah, it's clunky and it's uncomfortable, but oh boy, the rewards. I mean, the word that keeps jumping out at me is I am such a kinder person. And I always thought I was so nice and lovey, and I have a big heart, and I care, and I just want to see the best in people. But the amount of kindness that I now show to myself and to people, like, I didn't even know that that was something that was going to come from this. It's beautiful.
Yes. Yes. I love what you said about the parenting, because I'm such a better parent now, and more calm and at peace, and
Patience. Patience.
I have more patience. And whereas, you know, with my daughters, because they are older, they're adults, when I was young and I was being a parent, of course I'm gonna get angry, or I'm gonna, like, you know, want to punish them. I'm not talking about hitting or anything like that. No. What I'm saying is, like, we get aggravated and we lash out, or we react.
React versus respond. That's been the big shift with me.
Yes. And allow it to affect our nerves, right? Whereas with my son, I'm like, okay, he's throwing a tantrum. What does he need? What is it that he needs from me? And I'll say, do you need attention? He'll be like, yes, I need attention. I'll pick him up and hold him, because I want to show him that love. I want to show him love. I want to show him he's safe, he's protected, he can be heard.
And he can feel.
Yes. 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 So I love that you said that.
Yeah, and it's huge, because when we learn to feel, we allow everybody else around us to feel. And now my strength is being like the calm in the center of the storm, because there's so much noise around us from every direction. And when you are not solid, that noise will take you out at the ankles every time. And then you're instantly reacting, and you're surviving, and you're exhausted and depleted, and you're reaching for that chocolate cake, you know, or you're reaching for that, you know, bottle of wine when you get home. You know, you're reaching for drugs, you're screaming, you're yelling, you're whatever it is, whatever your thing is, you're reaching to. And when you can become that calm in the center of the storm, you will notice that you will stop reaching so much to survive, because you are beginning to thrive from within. And I just have this vision of like this flower blooming in the springtime, you know, and we're all underground, we're all growing, and then we're growing through, and then the flower blossoms. And when you nurture that flower, you don't even know inside of a rose or inside of a peony how beautiful it is when it unfolds, layer upon layer upon layer. And it's a beautiful gift. And that's what we're here for you, you know, to help serve you. And I hope that this conversation has been of service to you. It's been very joyful for me, and you know, I love this. This is why I do what I do, and this is why Kristy does what she does, because it's kind of like we have no choice, really.
It's just that the universe pushes us to
pay it forward
and guide other women to feel this way, because, you know, so many women feel that, like, I get messages on my Instagram every day. How do I stop the binge eating? How do I stop going for foods that I know are going to make me feel bad? And it's like a cycle, right? And honestly, I feel that the first step in healing, in creating a balanced state within your body, is with food, with nourishment, and really healing your body. And you know, that actually brings us to a state that feels leveled out, so that we can focus on the things that have been hurting us. Because when we feel anxious and our stomachs are hurting, and when we get that pain in the pit of our stomach because we're stressed out, it's too much to deal with anything that's coming up. And so we go for the food, or we go for those vices to shut it out, because that tension gets to be too much. And so I strongly believe that healing the body first, and then going into the mindset as the body starts to become more balanced and calm, is like the best way to go.
I will add that, and then I will close, because I'm feeling that this is a nice point to tie it up in. And I will pause and share that in a moment. But so for me, I've retired from corporate. I'm now in a more balanced energy, which is huge. And I had to start with healing my body first. I didn't know. This was 15 years ago. I did not know. Like, my eating disorder was, gosh, maybe 20 years ago. And I didn't know that in order to get to where I wanted to get to, I had to, look at the body first. Because how could I possibly switch from one career to another career? Because I would be dealing with the same things in my body unconsciously, and I would feel the same way. So my body, my soul, my guidance knew where to take me, not where I wanted to go, but I see that now. And I'm so grateful, because now my base isn't here kind of shaking. It's here, and it ain't going anywhere, and it's rock hard. Whereas before, it would be here and it would be taken out all the time. And so I echo what you're saying tremendously. No matter what it is that you want, whether it's to change your career, whether it's to improve your relationships, whether it's to make more money, whether it's to, whatever it is, your body is your wisdom. And when you allow yourself to listen to your body and allow your body to speak, it will guide you with exactly what you need. You just need to quiet your mind enough to listen, and then trust to act on that message that you receive, like one step forward at a time. And so in closing, we have a choice at every moment, at every turn, at every heartbeat in our life. And we have a choice to stay with our fear or to lead with our faith. And the one that is the loudest is going to win. And to face your fear is scary. I totally get that. And to lead with faith is blind, because there's nothing to anchor onto, to physically see. You just kind of intuitively know, I don't want that, and I want this. And I invite you to just reflect on the moment of, I have a choice, and what is going to serve me in this moment for my highest benefit? Act on that. And then what is going to serve me in the next moment for my highest benefit? Act on that. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about the past. And this took a long time for me to get out of that. And when you just look at one step forward at a time, the amount of trust and surrender that takes is huge, but the payoff is limitless. It's limitless. And, if we're here to serve you right now, and I'm so glad we have, this has been such a gift for us. And if you'd like to connect further with myself or with Kristy, we would be honored to have a conversation with you and support you on every step of your journey, wherever you need support and guidance, because this is my soul mission and my purpose, and I know it's yours as well, Kristy.
Yes. I am so grateful to have had this chat, and that we could help.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm going to do a little housekeeping and close. So we're going to have a few more of these. We're probably going to do another one next week. And the plan is to talk about probably business next week, and then maybe relationships. We're not quite sure which one we're going to do next. So, if there's a direction that you want us to go, let us know. But that's the plan, because each of these have equal importance in different parts of your life. And so we're here to serve. And we would love to have you continue on this journey with us. And this has been beautiful. Relationships. There we go.
Okay. I love that.
Oh, thank you. This has been lovely. And do you have any final thoughts before we close it out, Kristy? Oh, actually, I guess I should say where people can connect in with you. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would love to have you share your offer, and then I can share my offer, but I can go first if you would like.
Yeah, go first. I get so excited in this that I keep forgetting that is an opportunity for us to share in a little bit more of a packaged container what we do. I really believe more in energy and connecting with the vibe, because I think you guys can tell whether or not you enjoy working with us, and we're here to serve. But it's a vibe, it's an energy. And, I'm
Yeah.
very much aware to that now, whereas years ago I was not at all. So yeah, please let us know how we can connect into your world, Kristy.
Yeah. So my IG is I am Kristy Marie. I am Kristy Marie, Kristy _ And I am actually calling in some clients to really just work with them on their health and to teach them about food. And I am offering like 90-minute sessions with me just to kind of teach you about what's good for your body. Everything I do is channeled and intuitive and customized to you. So that is one of my offers. It's a 90-minute session. I also have larger containers on a bigger scale where you have like 3 months with me. So yeah, that is my offer now, but I would love to just like have you guys follow me, have some talks with me over there. And yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And so for myself, my purpose and journey is about relationships. It's to harmonize and bring balance into relationships. So we all have a masculine and we all have a feminine energy. Globally, everything in the universe has a masculine and a feminine, a yin and a yang. And I'm here to help you harmonize, bring balance, bring calm to your chaos in whatever you're experiencing. And I have a wealth of knowledge. Like I said, I've got 20 years in corporate business. I have a ton of relationship knowledge and expertise, health and fitness, and a variety of things. But the way that you can connect into my world is I follow with my heart, and I teach you how to trust your heart and how to listen to your heart and how to lead with your heart and get out of your mind and turn it off, because your heart is what leads you forward. And so the way that I do it is I invite you to connect in with me 1 month at a time. I like to think you need about 3 or 4 months to move through your transition, but this is an act of faith and this is an act of trust. And so I don't make you go under a contract. It's just, if you want to work with me, you work with me. And if you don't, you don't. But I can guarantee that if you connect into my world and you commit to doing the work yourself, you will experience monumental shifts, just like you're going to experience with Kristy, because you're choosing you. And we're just here to kind of hold space for you and let your, magnetic beauty shine and lead you forward in an act of trust and of service for yourself and to others. And so you can connect in. You're already in my Facebook, and just stay connected and let us know if you need anything, and we're here to serve. So thank you, my dear. This was lovely.
Thank you guys so much for staying on, for being here, for allowing us into your space. And I hope you guys have such a beautiful day.
Bye.
Weekend. Bye.